Hi, good morning. Welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Okay, now let's start things off. Current blood sugar is 8.2. I did a video earlier this morning and I couldn't get anything because my sensor was going through a warm up. It's completed that. I now have to take numbers. Here I have 30 minutes, or not 30 minutes, 4 hours to do another blood sugar. If I touch it, it tells me it's due at almost 3 o'clock, but we'll probably do it around lunch to see what happens. Sometimes it'll go full calibrate, sometimes we have to wait. Amount of insulin is 2.925. Sometimes I can read this, sometimes I can't. Been acting with just basal rate because corrections couldn't be used. I had a few last night, but it's kept me up around 9. Pretty good. Time in range is 84% today. This we got down by 10, but last night the sensor stopped working, so my blood sugar went a little high. Okay, so I had to correct something here. 84% time in range, 0 below 3.9, and here blood sugar of 9. So this is creeping up a bit. It was just 8.9. Oh well, we'll see where it goes from here. Now, just one thing I have to do here. There. Okay. That's all done. Now disappear. I have a little note on my screen here. Today we're going to talk about stacking. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. If you take a look at the thumbnail for this video, it looks like we're stacking books. That's far from what we're doing. We are doing stacking of insulin. Mainly the short-acting insulin, And what this means is usually someone who is hyperglycemic will stack insulin to bring it down quickly. Most insulins now are fairly quick acting and get in the bloodstream within 15 minutes. However, you want to ensure that you're not injecting too often. The major problem people have when doing this is all of a sudden they're low and they don't know how they can be so low. Nothing they do is working right. The best thing to do is, if you have a hypoglycemia, you should have a plan worked out with your doctor. To me, that's the number one step. You should have had this conversation with your doctor. If I have a hypoglycemic event, how am I going to bring down the blood sugars without causing me to go low? A form of stacking would be giving insulin, half an hour later giving more, half an hour later giving more, and you have varying times of when this insulin is going to go active. Short-acting insulin, for 4 to 6 hours. Excuse me, my eye. After that, it starts to wane. If you're doing a correction, you need to ensure that you have adequate time in between your doses. And if you're on syringes, this should be about 3 hours. Anything less than that, you're going to run into problems with stacking. I personally have done stacking. It didn't do much difference for me. However, for whatever my body was going through, the insulin wasn't working. So yes, we tried stacking a bit. But I could easily see how stacking could bring down my blood sugar. So, how do we not get into this? First of all, you need to, what do you need to do? You need to refer to your plan. Second of all, don't give shots within 3 hours of giving a shot previous. If you do, you're liable to do one of two things. Now, I think pretty well one. Your blood sugar is going to drop, and it's going to keep dropping. And you could eat, and it's going to take a long time for you to bring up your blood sugar. Pure and simple. There are other things we can do that can help curb the effects. The first one is free. If you're dealing with a hypoglycemic, you could take your correction, but you could also go for a walk. This will help the insulin reach its target and bring down insulin or bring down your blood sugars naturally. If we go way back to our beginning topics, we learn that insulin is the key which opens the cell to allow sugar in. We don't have insulin, the cell is closed, nothing's gonna get in. Exercise, once open, allows the body to utilize the insulin and to burn up the glucose in your system. Doesn't do a great job without insulin, but if you're dealing with just a high blood sugar, then exercise along with your correction is probably one of the best bets. Now, you can, I've mentioned this before, that you don't want to give injections within 3 hours of each other. So somehow you're going to have to come up with a system of keeping track when the last time you corrected was. Another way to kind of ensure this doesn't happen is a CGM. You can see your blood sugar, you can see if you're actually coming down and how quickly you're starting to come down, so that you're not going to start injecting. Now, pens and insulin syringes are pretty well the most common and inexpensive way to deliver insulin. However, there it is. Having a pump really can help you stop stacking your insulin. The pump will allow you to only give certain amount of insulin at certain amount of times. It allows the insulin to get absorbed into your bloodstream. It may not bring it right down into normal, but it won't allow you to give more insulin until the appropriate time has passed. Even when I type in my mealtime bolus, it subtracts the insulin already in my system. But it also calculates how high your blood sugar is, when was the last time you had it. So, while I said CGM works with your insulin pumps. Imagine that. It works with it. Okay. Now, contact your doctor. Well, it says here, keep in mind, I'm old, remember? Let me get my glasses on here. Oh, that's looking great. There we go. Cheap glasses, okay? It says, if you often experience stacking, speak to your doctor. Well, ideally, as soon as you're diagnosed, you should speak with your doctor about plans, about if you have hypoglycemia, if you're experiencing low blood sugars, if you get sick. This should be a pre-hyperglycemic event. Now, if it does continue to go up, then you need to contact your doctor. Now, one of the ways that is kind of built into the pump is something called a bolus calculator. You could take a look at these online. Before I got my pump, I was on the freestyle glucometer, and the freestyle glucometer, you do your blood test, it'd tell what your blood sugar is, you would type in your carbs that you were going to eat, and would give you insulin. Or you just type in your correction that you want to do, and it will give you numbers. All these systems can help you, but the number one reason why people end up stacking is, they want to get those high blood sugars down, and they become overachievers. Not to worry. If you are having higher blood sugars, relax about it. You've taken your insulin, go for a walk, do many things as you can to bring down. Something I find that while insulin is drinking of water. Now, I don't know if it's more up here for me, but just drinking water makes your body more open to getting your blood sugar down, because you're already thirsty while you're high. So now it just brings it down. It could be psychosomatic for me, but for me, it just seems to work, so I have some water. Or sugar-free water, those little Mio or Kool-Aid drops that you put in. So, first of all, number one thing you should do, if you have hyperglycemia, is follow the plan that your doctor has set up for you. If you haven't, figure out your correction dose, administer the dose. For me, I have the pump and the CGM, so that's allowing me only to give a certain amount of insulin. I don't touch syringes. I'm not into stacking of insulin. There's only a certain reason I'll do it, but that's only on the advice of a doctor. Remember that, it's important. Don't go off trying to discover your magical treatments, because you're going to run into problems. 2, take your correction. Your first correction, you're not going to have any issue with in regards to stacking. It's the ones after this. Get up, go for a walk. If it's wintertime outside and you're in a condo or whatever, I used to walk the halls of my condo building just to get out of the apartment. And I did that many times to help bring down my blood sugar. Don't give a secondary shot a correction within 3 hours of giving your first. Multiple injections, you may think, oh well, my first dose didn't really work after an hour, so I'm going to give more. I'm going to get this down fast. Well, lowering your blood sugars quickly isn't necessarily the greatest thing to do either. But do your first dose. You'll be safe. Next is talk to your doctor about sorry, I had to have a break there for a moment. But talk to your doctor about coming up with a plan if your blood sugars are high and how long you should wait in between doses. Knowledge is really the key in anything about diabetes. Knowledge is the first step. Second is implementation of the plan. So discuss a plan with your doctor. Make sure you understand it fully and how to implement that plan. Don't kind of be sitting there saying, oh, things don't really work out that well for me. We talked also about exercise and how exercise, get up, get moving. Motivation can be the key. I know if you're really quite high blood sugars, for me, even a blood sugar of 13, I really feel like I just want to sleep again. It's funny, even for lows, all I want to do is sleep, so. But do your best. Get up, do some exercise. Don't just kind of sit there and watch TV and wonder why nothing's happening. I may have discussed this earlier in this review. If I have, I apologize, but talk to your doctors about getting a CGM and an insulin pump to best fit your needs if you are a stacker. Now, I feel a lot of times stackers are just overzealous. Pure and simple. And with that, have a super day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.